In the moonlit forests and shadowed clearings of the overworld, a far more mysterious creature lurks, one both feared and revered. It moves with a quiet purpose, blending so seamlessly into the terrain that many travelers fail to notice it until it is far too late. This is the creeper, an organism so peculiar that even seasoned naturalists speak of it in hushed tones. At first glance, the creeper appears simple, a tall, mottled spindle of green pixels perched upon 4 short legs. But a closer examination reveals an anatomy crafted for stealth, ambush, and the strange energies that govern the cubic realm. Let us begin with its defining structure. The chloroblock dermis. Composed of densely packed green pixels resembling foliage, this outer layer grants the creeper almost perfect camouflage in grasslands and forests. Each cell can subtly shift its hue based on ambient light, producing what researchers call adaptive noise blending, a passive ability that tricks players' eyes into filtering the creeper out of their field of view. To the unprepared, the creature seems to materialize out of nowhere. Beneath the dermis lies the volatile core matrix, the most enigmatic organ in the entire overworld. Shimmering with unstable digital energy, this organ is responsible for the creeper's explosive tendencies. It reacts to emotional thresholds, most commonly triggered by player proximity. When the threshold is exceeded, the matrix begins a rapid, energetic cascade, producing the infamous hiss as the organ destabilizes. This sequence is not merely an explosion, it is a controlled release of stored potential, optimized to cause maximum structural disruption while ensuring the creature's own essential data returns to the world code afterwards. Above the torso rests the rectangular consciousness pod, a headless sensory module that defies conventional biology. Creepers possess no eyes in the traditional sense. Instead, their perception is handled by the cerebral data slits, narrow visual inputs capable of tracking movement across extremely wide angles. Though simple, these slits feed directly into the agroanalysis kernel, the part of the creeper's mind that evaluates threats, opportunities, and the optimal moment to engage its detonation protocol. Mobility is granted through the quad-spire limbs. Each leg contains isometric tendon bundles, allowing for nearly silent steps across grass, stone, and soil. This silent gait, sometimes described by researchers as predatory stillness in motion, explains why creepers are rarely heard approaching. Their pace is deliberate, their stride steady, every movement calculated to minimize detection until the final seconds. But even more curious is the creeper's internal charge lattice, a series of conducted pathways running through its body like digital veins. These channels regulate energy flow and connect directly to the volatile core matrix. During storms, when lightning strikes a creeper, this lattice overloads, transforming the creature into its formidable variant, the charged creeper. In this state, the matrix becomes supercharged, producing an explosion far more devastating, an event overworld ecologists classify as a hypervoltage bloom. Within the creeper, the respawn conduit functions in a similar way to that of peaceful mobs, though with a distinct twist. Rather than releasing its essence immediately upon detonation, the creeper's conduit stores a fragment within the surrounding air. Hours or days later, a new creeper quietly reforms deep within the wilds. This delayed regeneration explains why creepers' populations remain remarkably stable, despite their self-destructive defense. Social behavior among creepers is minimal. Though they do not form herds, they exhibit a phenomenon known as shadow convergence, their tendency to appear in clusters during the late night hours. These gatherings are not coordinated, rather it is thought that subtle environmental cues draw them to the same areas. Scientists theorize that the overworld code contains certain hazard nodes, locations that naturally attract hostile entities seeking darkness and low player interference. Communication, however, among creepers is almost non-existent. Their iconic hiss is not vocalization, but rather the sound of air rushing through the volatile core matrix as it destabilizes. Researchers theorize that creepers may release faint infrasonic vibrations, far too low for players to hear, to signal nearby mobs when an explosion is imminent. Reproduction, too, is a topic of speculation. Creepers show no signs of courtship or nesting. Many scholars suspect that they are not naturally occurring organisms at all, but rather emergent anomalies, glitches stabilized by the overworld into living creatures. Their behavior, their form, and even their eerie silence suggests a species born not of evolution, but of code correcting itself into something unexpectedly alive. Yet, despite their danger, creepers play a vital role in the ecosystem. Their explosions aerate soil, clear dense foliage, and deter overpopulation of both hostile and passive mobs. They are agents of chaotic balance, ensuring that the landscape never remains static for long. And so, as the square moon rises and the shadows stretch across the terrain, the creeper resumes its watchful prowl. It is not driven by malice, nor guided by hunger. Instead, it exists in quiet alignment with the rhythms of the overworld, silent, patient, inevitable.